My name is Mike Alft. I taught at Elgin High School from 1953 to 1994. And I was there when many of the Lao students were going through Elgin High School. I was mayor of Elgin from 1968 to 1971. While I was mayor, the city of Elgin had a sister city arrangement with the capital city of Laos, Vientiane. And we had a banquet which introduced the program of Sister City. And we invited the Lao students from Southern Illinois University to come to Elgin and attend the banquet. One of these Southern Illinois University students, whom we first met in 1968, later became a resident of Elgin. And he is well known. His name is Saisana Songvale.
Right.
He's in the insurance business, I believe.
Yes, he is.
And then I knew Enterson Sibale and Dong Simone Sibale, who were teachers at the high school. The first resident of Elgin who came from Laos, Phet, P-H-E-T was his name, but he actually was not Laotian, or he was Vietnamese. I think his wife was Lao.
Right. Was his last name Udom?
Yes, Udom.
Mm-hmm.
And you can date the arrival of the Lao from the downfall of the Republic of Laos by the communists in 1975.
Mm-hmm.
Then many of the Lao retreated as best they could across the Mekong River to the refugee camps in Thailand. Because the Lao was allied with the United States during the Vietnam conflict, a special arrangement was made to bring as many Lao here to the United States as wanted to come and get them out of those Thai camps, which are not a good place to raise children.
Right.
The Lao were the first immigrants to Elgin who arrived primarily by airplane.
Mm-hmm.
All the other immigrant groups, German and Swedish and so on, came by train or by boat, ship.
Right.
And when the Lao first came off the plane in O'Hare Field, many of them had only a paper bag filled with their belongings. That's all they had.
Mm-hmm.
And they were met by sponsoring agents, usually from the church or from the YWCA, YMCA. And then the sponsoring agent found them a place to live and stocked the home with food. And then they had 30 days rent to pay, which the sponsoring agent. And then for the most part, they were on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And they adapted very quickly to American ways. One of the first ways in which you can tell that they were settling in is the Lao had their own stores. One of them was downtown, and another one was out on the west side.
Mm-hmm.
And they sold rice in 25-pound sacks.
Right.
And it wasn't long before they established a Buddhist temple. Now, some of the Lao became Christians because if the church sponsored them, quite often they went to the church of the sponsoring group.
Right.
But others established their own Buddhist temple, which still exists on Highway 19.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have two Buddhist temples, one close by on Bloodstone Boulevard, plus the one on Highway 19.
Mm-hmm.
Not all the Lao came to Elgin. Some found homes in Hanover Park, and others found homes near Hampshire. In fact, there's a Buddhist temple near Hampshire on the far west. As mayor of Elgin, I was invited to Washington to meet the Crown Prince and Crown Princess of the royal family.
Mm-hmm.
I believe this was in 1968 or 1969. And when we arrived, we were given the Lao visitation pin, which is the Luang Prabang Buddha.
Mm-hmm.
and everybody was wearing these pins.
Right.
And the Crown Prince also gave Mrs. Alft a beautiful shawl
Mm-hmm.
that was manufactured in Laos.
Oh.
The Lao adapted to Elgin very quickly, more than most immigrant groups, because they learned the language so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the Lao parents told me that they would sit their children in front of a television set, especially when the cartoons were on, because they could learn English
Mm-hmm.
from the cartoon, because the cartoon was simplified
Right.
in their actions.
Right.
And many students, well, Boomtown was one of the first students to graduate from Elgin High School. I think it was about 1980 or 81, and he became an engineer. And one of the reasons I can say the Lao adapted to American ways so quickly was the automobile. It was a standard joke that the first thing that Lao students learned in English was driver's ed. I mean, they wanted to have a car.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And today, you can see how well the Lao have done,
Right.
because all you have to do is go by the two Buddhist temples on service days,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see the quality of the cars in the parking lots.
Yes.
For example, Intasone and Deng Simone Sibile had two daughters, and they both went to the Science and Mathematics Academy for exceptionally gifted students at Aurora. And from there, they went to, I think, the University of Illinois, and now both work for IBM in very high-paying jobs. So
That's great.
there was a Lao policeman, a Vietnam policeman, who was settled in Gilbert's, and his children are adept at the computer and found very fine jobs. Another way you can tell how quickly the Lao adapted is you get the stationery of the Lao American Organization, the LAO,
Mm-hmm.
and if you see the directors, they don't have Lao names, they have Shirley and Edward and James. Even though they have Lao last names.
Yes.
And the Lao last names have always been a wonder to people who lived in Elgin, because they're so long.
Right.
And I have a friend, Judy Sarang, I think her name was Sarang, but it was about 15, 16 letters long.